and welcome to my video number 3 on my YouTube channel. Thank you to people watching. Thank you if you watched video number 1 and video number 2. I'm here to chat about my knitting and my crochet, something that I do every day. Productivity has increased so much since the pandemic, and that's what I'm doing. I'm showing all the things that I've made through the panic of the pandemic. I haven't got up to date yet, but I'm getting there. So I'll show you the same format. I'll show you my finished objects, finished things, and then things that I'm working on, my whips, and also I have got some new yarn that I'm going to show. So without further ado, let's start. The first thing I'm going to show, which I finished back in the summer in 2020, is another shawl from, I've already shown this book, but it's a shawl from the Crochet Projects, the Shawl Project, book 1, and all the designs in here are by Joanne Scrace, and the shawl I'm going to show you is called the Spirographical. There's a picture of it, and if you're familiar with Spirograph, I certainly had it when I was a girl, played a lot with Spirograph, loved it actually, but I can see why she's called it that. So that is her Spirograph shawl, and here is my version. I use the same weight yarn, which is fingering weight, but I use some scraps from my stash, and so I use 3 different colours, and here it is. I can't remember what they are. I know they're all fingering weight. I think this one is an alpaca mix, and this one is a merino, and it's a hand-dyed yarn, but I really can't remember, it's so long ago. All the shapes in the paler pink have got these lovely clusters. I don't know if I said it's, yeah, of course I said it was crochet because I've shown the book, but it is crochet. So there is the lovely shawl. It's quite lacy. I'm going to put it on. I wear this in 2 ways. I do sometimes do that. Doesn't look right with this top, okay, but it also looks lovely just like that. It's a little scarf. While I'm doing this, I'm thinking, have I already shown this? But I've got my book here, and I'm sure I haven't. Let me just double check, because that would be weird if I'm showing something that I've already shown. I don't think I am, because I hadn't ticked it off. No. So that's my Spirographical. Then the second thing that I finished that I'm going to show are some placemats, which get used every single day. I did make 6, but I now only have 5 because I gifted one to to my son's girlfriend actually, because she was with us through the first lockdown and everyone had their own allocated mat, and so I let her take the one that she'd been using because it was her favourite. But I'll show you them all. So I've got this rainbow effect one. They're quite big. They house a large dinner plate really well. I like it because even when the plate's on, you can still see the mat. So you can still see there's a bit of crochet going on at dinner. Then there's this more pastel one. That one's got food on it there. They wash really well. I just took them in the washing machine. And then this one, which is my husband's favourite one. I used double DK, double knit cottons to make these, and what I did is I held 2 yarns together, and for each colour change I just swapped 1 yarn so that the colour changes were more subtle. I don't know if it shows very well. I'll show you a close up on this one. This is another rainbowy one, but you can see it creates a marled effect as well, which is really nice. And the pattern, I based this on a blanket. They're all covered in food. Should have washed them first. Based it on a blanket pattern by Mijo Crochet, and well, I stopped when I got to the size that I want, but I followed her increase pattern, but then I just added the little pattern at the edge just to give them a little edging. And here's the final one. This one actually is clean because I don't think this one's been used recently. Because at the moment there's only 3 of us for dinner. So, because yes, I haven't done as much knitting and crochet as normal this last week because I had a busy week because I went to collect my daughter from London because she finished her masters. So she's home, which is great. It's really nice to have her around, to have her company. So we've been quite busy. We went shopping, we've been out for lunch. And well, it's just nice to have her home. But she's looking for a job now, so she's wanting to go back down to London. So there'll be another trip back down that when she finds gainful employment, which I'm sure she will. It might take a bit of time, but I'm sure she will eventually. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So there's my placemats. What have I got next on my list? Another shawl from this book. So that's Spirographical there. Then I've also completed this one, again by Joanne Scrace, and it's called Your Mileage May Vary. And it's got a lovely vintage lace border here that you can see. And, well, actually I have 2. I made 3 of these and I gifted one to somebody, but the first one I made was this one. And this is made, I made this one in one day because this is made using Aran yarn, and the yarn I used is the Aran Donegal Luxury Tweed by Debbie Bliss, and it's 90% wool and 10% Angora. So this is crochet. This crocheted up really quickly, and again, I always wear the wrong top. I wouldn't wear this with this top, but it's quite cute just over the shoulders like that. But again, if you prefer a more scarfy adornment, you could wear it like that. I'm sure I've been known to wear it on my head as well, but I won't do that now because I've got a hat on at the moment, which I will talk about shortly. So that's one Your Mileage May Vary shawl. And the second one that I have here is I made it using fingering weight yarns, all merinos from my stash. So hence, I was trying to use up some scraps, hence these short little stripes here. And I think the vintage lace pattern on the bottom is so nice. Love it. Again, I'll put it on, but that's not right. And of course you could make it longer, as long as you like really. You just stop and, well, you go to the middle and then, I can't remember exactly how I did it, but yeah, you can make it as small or as large as you like really, as long as you keep it multiples of a certain number, and I can't remember what that was now, but yeah, there it is. There we go. Quite like that one. I like them both actually. What am I talking about? I like them all. And then the other thing that I finished, I think I've shown these on my Instagram in fact, but I made little crochet jackets for some jars. I ate a lot of yogurt from the supermarket that came in glass jars so that I could procure the jars for advent jars. And I made little cotton jackets for them all. And when so I used them for advent. This is what I did. I just printed out some numbers. There's number 23, and then had my little pegs. I'll peg one to the jar, Comme ça. Voila. And so they were on the mantelpiece, and I put wrapped up gifts in them throughout for the month of December, so that my kids, because they're not kids anymore, but they still love kid stuff, not things, kid things, but you know, the idea of Advent, they're all over it like a rash. And even though I don't think they weren't all home until right on Christmas, but they just devoured the Advent jars, got everything opened. And thankfully 24 divides into 3 quite well, so there's no arguments, and they all have their own numbers, they know what numbers they're opening. So I tried to ombre them a little bit, so I've got pinks and purples here, and then a few purplies into blues, some more pinks, and each one has got a little silver, glittered silver border on the top. And then once all the Advent gifts are opened and gone, I put tea lights in them and light them, and they look lovely with the light flickering through the crochet pattern. Some yellows, there's some paler yellows, oops, that's better. And then I've got some greens, and these 2 other greens, so they ombre well from the yellows. And then these 2 rogue ones, which I agonised about where to put them. This one is sparkly and multicoloured, and then this one is grey. It's actually sparkly grey. So, but they look lovely on the mantelpiece, and I keep them there all year round. And at the moment all the numbers are just in one of the jars for safekeeping, and then I'll get them out again in December. Whoops. So they are my Advent jars. So I used fingering weight cottons for most of them. There's a few, I mean this one is a merino, and so is that one, but I think the rest are all cottons. And then the top is just a little not tinsel, a glittered grey yarn. I don't know if you can see it, the glitter doesn't really show very well on the camera. Okay, so that's my 24 little Advent jars. Just move those across. And then the next thing that I want to show is a blanket that I finished. Where is it? Here it is. And well, I finished it, to all intents and purposes, I finished it for me, for as far as I wanted to go. And it's circular, but you're supposed to continue and make it into a rectangle, but I didn't want to do that, so I stopped at the circle. And it's a pattern by Tsatiana from Lilla Bjorn Crochet, so this is a crochet blanket, and it's called the Rozeta blanket. It was also a cowl, and as I say, I stopped at the circle. I think I might have shown this on my Instagram as well, once upon a time. So here it is. I chose the colourway for this, for my version, and I can't remember what the names of the colours are, but all of the yarn is Scheepjes Our Tribe, and it's 70% merino and 30% nylon. I'm going to stand up so you can see it. It's a beautiful pattern. You see how gorgeous it is, and it's got a lovely drape on it, and it's really warm to sit under. It's probably covered in cat hairs, but that is my Rozeta blanket. And I just didn't fancy squaring off the corners and then making it into a rectangle. I just like it as a circle. So there it is, but I have also made another one, although it isn't finished, and I started it again last summer. It's not finished, and I just used scraps from my stash, and well, I'm wondering whether to use it as a rug. What I did, I used for every, oh, well, I'll hold it up first and show it. There it is. And basically for every colour, some of them I've marled, I'll show a little bit closer. So you can see I've held different colours together in places. Some it's the same solid colour held together. This is mosaic crochet, by the way, as well. It's really nice. But yeah, you can see I haven't done the ends, so several yarns, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 held together just to try and get the same thickness of yarn throughout. But I want to do a little bit more, and then I have got a large canvas that I thought I might mount it on and put it on the wall because I think it would look lovely. But equally, it's quite thick. I think it would be really great as a rug. But then we have got hard floors downstairs, hard tiled floors throughout. So I think it would really need a backing on it, because otherwise it would just be a hazard. It would be slipping everywhere. So maybe I will just put it on the wall. My canvas is actually here in this room. That's the back of it. So I could mount it on there, but I think I'll just do a little bit more. But I do love it. Absolutely beautiful. So that's the Rozeta blanket pattern. So, and I didn't buy any yarn for it at all. I just tried to put together what I had. Actually, some of it is the Donegal luxury tweed, the Aran, that I used in this scarf. The orange, I think. Yeah, because I've got orange on this edging here, and you can see that in there, and some of these other colours. Anyway, so that's that one. I'll put it back in this bag, but it isn't quite finished. I just think I might add a bit more to it. So technically that is in fact a work in progress, not a finished item, but never mind. Oh, and then the last thing that I finished is the thing on my head, because this was a whip last time on my last video, and this is the classic ribbed hat by Purl Soho. There it is. And this is a sample knit for the lovely Liv at the Wool Shed. Now I'm wearing it in a slouchy way because I'm trying to be cool. But you could wear it, when it's slouchy, I'll go side so you can sort of see it's like that sort of style. That's what I mean. But you could also, when it's really cold, turn it up and pull it down, and it becomes more of a beanie, but you've got double thickness over the ears like that. So that's quite nice too. But I do like it, but I'm sending this to Liv this week, and she's having it on her stand as a sample, and I'm going to take it off now. My hair will be hat hair. Voila. And the pattern's great. It's very simple. It's just knit one, purl one to get a ribbed effect all the way through the hat. The decrease at the end creates this nice, almost like a sort of star flower pattern on the top. So that's quite nice. And yeah, it's just very simple. And the yarn that I used, so Liv's yarn, I'm looking in the wrong book, here we have it. It's her double knit, and it's on her 100% superwash base. The colours are blowing out a bit on this. There, that's better. 100% superwash, and this colourway is called Mermaid hair. Get that hair off it. So that'll be going off in the post to her this week. But it's so soft and quite plump. It's really nice. Really nice yarn. So I'm pleased with that. Actually, I'm going to put it back on. I quite like it. It's not cold, but I don't know, I quite enjoyed wearing it. So there we go. So that's the classic ribbed hat by Purl Soho, and the yarn is by Liv at the Wool Shed. She's got some beautiful colours. So, in fact, it's her yarn that I'm going to show at the end, as I bought some more from her. So that's all the finished objects I was going to show today. So now I'm going to show you some whips, some work in progresses. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'll just show you how much yarn I had left over. So Liv sent me, it was 100-gram DK, and I've got, it's not half left, but there's a fair amount left over. She's kindly said I can keep it, so that'll be going in one of my projects at some point. I love it. I love all the little splashes of colour, and the splashes of orange and fuchsia in there as well. It's really pretty. Right, so that's that over there. So yeah, onto the whip. So the first whip I'm going to show you is the Jimmy shawl, which I showed last time. And I have done quite a lot on this actually, I guess. Here it is. Oh yeah, I am midway through a row. I never seem to stop at the end. The end is here. So I've got all these stitch markers in at the moment because I've reached the lace border, as you can see. There it is. That's the wrong side actually. I'll show you the right side. There. And I kind of just went wild with the colour placement. I've just been swapping colours hither and thither. That's the wrong side. Let me just see if I can show you some of the right side in there. Not really, but it is looking lovely. So I'm getting there. I think there's about another bit that much to go on this part of the border, but then there's another extra bit on the border. I'll show you if I can find it. And unfortunately I didn't read properly how much you needed for each colour, so I ran out of this sort of neon yellowy green colour here, so I've swapped now to this one. And these yarns that I'm using as the contrast colours are from Pixie Yarns Wisteria fade set, her minis. This is lovely. This is sort of variegated, and so I'm swapping to that for the rest of this part of the lace, but I think it'll be fine. It'll look great. And if I hadn't used the same colour further down in the shawl here, I possibly might have had enough, but I still like that little bit chucked in the pink there. So yeah, and the main colour is by A Knit Away. It doesn't have a name, but it's a variegated pink colour. All the yarns in this are 75% merino, 25% nylon, and they're all fingering weight. So it's really soft, lovely, and I can't even vaguely demo what it vaguely might look like because I'm not at the end of a row. And it does take me quite a long time to do a row. Oh, and I ran out of stitch markers, so I had to improvise with paper clips, but I'll just have to get some more stitch markers, or maybe make some. I might make some, we'll see. So that is the Jimmy shawl by, I don't think I've said who the designer is, but it's by Christelle, and she's from Tricot et Stitch. She has a lovely podcast as well, and she's French, but she does it, well, she does it in French and in English, but on separate editions. So she does the French edition and the English edition. So yeah, she's great. She dyes yarn as well. She's a yarn dyer. So I do like her yarns, although I don't have any at the moment. So that is the Jimmy shawl, which hopefully will be finished next time I record an episode. So that's that one. And then the other whip that I have is, I cast it on the other day. Might even have only been yesterday actually. I think it was. And I'm not sure. So I'll just fold this over. So I can't remember if this is a free pattern or a bought pattern. But basically I had wanted to make this for my dog. My dog is not as small as this one. My dog is a working Cocker Spaniel and she's 13 and a half now. So she feels the cold, I think, a bit more. Well, she probably never did feel it before, but I think she does now. Anyway, she's getting a knitted jumper, so that's what I've cast on. And I bought some Aran yarn from my local Aldi, which I've used before, but I've never used this colour. I've used the cream in another whip, another blanket that I've shown, the baby rainbow sampler blanket, but that still isn't finished. But I got this in Aldi and it's really lovely. The colourway is called Fern. I don't know if that's showing up on there. Yeah, there you go, a bit shiny. So this is the humongous ball of yarn. Oh, it's bigger than my head, look, it's enormous. And this is how much I've done so far. Thankfully I'm not in the middle of a row for this one. So cast on here, did some ribbing, and then there's some holes for her front legs here. I think it goes like that actually, so this will be up round her neck, and then her legs, this will be the back, and her legs is hard to imagine, isn't it? And her legs will be through here. And basically I've just got to keep knitting now because I'm knitting down the back, but I am actually decreasing. It goes narrower down the back because I don't think it doesn't fasten right under her, it just hangs down the sides of her, I think. So I'm using size 6mm knitting needles, and then I know that I've got to switch to knitting in the round, join it at some point. I am a little bit confused, I don't know what to do. Oh yes, and then also I know I've got to pick up stitches here and do some ribbing, and again that will be with DPNs or knitting in the round, to do a little ribbed bit so that it's not just cut off there. There'll be a little bit. It's this section here, there and there, and I think the button is just ornamental. I hope so anyway, because I don't want to be doing button holes. But anyway, so that is everything that I was going to show today. And well, apart from the new yarn that I bought from Liv at the wool shed, here it is. I bought 3 skeins. It was her birthday and she was having a little sale or some money off, so I bought 3. And they're beautiful. You can see the kind of colours that I always go for, but these are gorgeous. These are double knit, so I could make many of these hats with these. The colourway is called Garden Party. I just love the greens, the yellows and the pinks. Very springy. But we're going into autumn, but I don't care, I don't mind. I love these colours. And you get 225 metres for each 100 gram skein. I think I found a pattern that I'm considering using. I'll see if I can show it on my laptop. As I was looking at it earlier, it's an actual crochet pattern, crochet jumper. That's the designer modelling it actually, and she's the designer behind Nomad Stitches, and it's a similar sort of yarn actually, sort of speckled and variegated. I'll just show a different picture, a closer one. Maybe that. But yeah, she's got some great designs. She's crochet. I think she does a tiny bit of knitting, but she's mainly crochet. But for a crochet jumper, I think that looks really good. And I think I've got enough yarn to do that with those 3, because I would make it quite cropped as well. So let me remind myself what that is actually called. It's, oh, that was it. It's the Confetti Pullover by Nomad Stitches. And yeah, it's using DK yarn. So I think I might have a go at that, but I'll see. And again, this is 100% superwash merino. So yeah, my stash from the wool shed. And I do know that she's going to be at Yarndale, and I'm going to Yarndale this year. Can't wait to go to a real live yarn festival. I think there's been a few on over the last few months. I think Yorkshire Yarn Fest, they did a hybrid one, so some vendors were online and some were actually there at the I can't remember what the place is called in York, but anyway, they did hold the festival, and I believe Unravel in Farnham went ahead. So yeah, and my ticket for Yarndale is I've got a restricted entry time. I can only go in at a certain time, but I think once you're in, you can, it's one-way system, but you can keep going round and round for as long as you like, really. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's, I think, the 26th of September. So yeah, can't wait. I'm going to go and try and go with some ideas of what I'm after, otherwise I'll just be wanting to buy everything. So I'm going to try and make a list and have some projects in mind rather than just going in and blindly, well, I can't buy everything, but you know, trying, just wanting everything. And actually I am going to try and go a bit off piste with my colourways, because I really always go for the pinks and the greens, well, you know, this sort of thing. So I'm going to try, I'm interested in some greys. I might try and do some kind of top-down sweater in maybe a darker grey and a lighter grey. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to have a look at that option. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you've watched to the end, thank you. I'm going to put everything I've talked about will be in the notes, the description box below the YouTube video. So if you're interested in any of the patterns and you can't remember what I said, like I say, I still need to know how to put things on the screen. I don't know how to do that. And editing, I don't know. I'm bolted in this room so that none of my cats could disturb me, because one of them was on the prowl before. So, but if you know how to edit, you can always edit that sort of thing out, which frankly I have no clue how to do that. Anyway, thank you for listening or watching, and well, until next time, bye.